Always fresh and a little bit sticky. Keep it locked on Cannabis Wiki. We're always fresh and a little bit sticky. The green room on Cannabis Wiki.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Green Room Live. Just making a call first.
I'm tagging on Instagram.
These are my favorite. You can do it. These are my
No, clearly I can't do it.
These are my favorite podcasts when the guest is just so comfortable. Welcome my good friend Corey Herscu.
Hi, Jackie Childs.
Wow!
You see what happens when you respect my last time and I respect yours?
There
We just start so positively.
There we go. Jackie has just the worst with names.
Jackie's just the worst, period.
Oh!
The names is just an icing on the cake.
Thanks for that. So what brings you to London? Cannabis Wiki Conference, but what brings
Clearly the gorgeous, amazing town that we're in. No, I'm with Cannabis Now magazine, and there's
cool.
a couple of our potential new clients out here, and playing the game, you know, in the industry, got to show face.
For sure.
Gave me a reason to sleep in a hotel and not sleep at home with kids.
Yeah, I was just going to say,
Like,
get a night without kids.
You know what I mean? A little from column A, a little from column B.
That's true. So Cannabis Now, tell me about them.
You know what? It's a fun magazine and online platform. I've known Eugenio Garcia, the publisher, for a very long time. We reconnected after my time with Lyft, and things just felt like maybe it's time, and I jumped on board. And
After your time with Lyft, so
Yes.
what did I miss?
listen, Lyft was a very, very fun time, great team. It just wasn't a fit, and that's it.
Just wasn't a fit.
Just wasn't a fit. Lovely team, lovely. The conference is great. Everybody there is great.
I get it.
It just wasn't a fit.
Yeah.
That's all.
So what are you up to? What are you up to?
I am now. I don't really have a title per se, but I'm working as a consultant for Cannabis Now, over helping them on their content side, sales, events, growth, bringing people together, partnerships. Like, you know how it is when it's like, there's no specific title for it, but I get paid and I make commission. So at the end of the day, titles don't really matter as long as you're getting paid money.
Yeah.
So
I don't care what you call me.
No, dude, you can call me daddy, baby, as long as you're paying my bills. I don't care.
There you go. My motto exactly.
Baby, say whatever you want, but as long as your credit card goes through. And yeah, listen, it's a fun change of pace to sell through into the US, where it's a different industry in cannabis, where people have money. The regulations are not what they are in Canada.
Right.
So you could actually thrive and do well.
I was just going to say that. Is it because we are so overregulated and so under the government's thumb?
Yes.
Is there a chance for some flourishment stateside? Because you're not under.
Unequivocally, if you are a brand that is agnostic to location, like a SaaS brand or a platform or a product that can ship, you can do a lot of really fun things in the US, and a lot of big Canadian brands are seeing that, and they're starting to shift their business to the US because the regulatory body isn't as, there's a really interesting saying that I heard about Canada, which is actually really astute, is that Canada didn't make cannabis legal. They made it less illegal because the government doesn't want to do the paperwork that requires it to be an illegal thing.
Exactly.
So they want to make some money on it, but they made it less illegal to the point where it's like it's a stranglehold. Nobody can do anything because it's so overly monitored and watched. Whereas in the US, they didn't implement the same kind of regulation. So you can market, of course, there's age gating like everywhere, but it's a lot easier to market and become a brand that can flourish in the US. So people, I'm not saying people, brands are more liberal and more free to spend money in marketing the US because they can. They don't have to go line by line by line by line by line. It's kind of shocking what Twitch just announced, where they're stopping cannabis promotion.
Cannabis promotion.
Why don't we go back to 15 years ago?
Like, of any kind, they're stopping
just
cannabis
like when
promotion.
OnlyFans said, we are not accepting sex anymore. It's like, oh, okay.
Platform
So you
tanked
literally...
you just tanked their own platform.
Why don't you
there.
kill what made you a $1 billion company?
Exactly. It's nuts. That is total. And you're speaking my language again when we talk about that.
Look, at the end of the day, I need to go. I have a family to take care of, and I need to go where there's more opportunity to make a better living and better income. And it's just, I have found it to be a lot.
And you're an expert here in Canada, where the world is watching.
Let's not say the word expert. Expert is such a pretentious
Very
word.
very knowledgeable in cannabis.
Listen,
in media marketing.
I've been in the industry for a minute. I know how to spin, to talk, to do, to this, to that, to play the game.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as an expert. Nobody's a fucking expert. Some people just know more than others. I just think that, listen, having the ability to have the knowledge of the network and knowing how to connect the right people and being able to profit off of it, that is how capitalism works. That is how it works. As long as you're a good person and you do right by people, nothing else matters.
And you get your bills paid.
And you get somewhat.
Somewhat. Some of them.
Somewhat.
More so stateside. So where are you? Where in the States are you? Where have you
lot in New York now because of the retail rollout and what's going on there with legalization. A lot in California. A lot in Montana. I'm doing some stuff now in Atlanta. Vegas. There's a lot.
Fun.
But again, when I go there, you can do whatever you want. You're not worried about a regulator slapping you in the wrist.
Which you have to worry about here.
So the only thing that I'm still so shocked by is how meta strangleholds and shadow bans everything. And you see, there's still a lot that gets through. And it's just.
For certain people. For certain
Instagram
brands.
has become the helicopter parent of social media. And it's.
What do you mean?
You can't breathe without them slapping you in the wrist and saying you're wrong. A helicopter parent doesn't let their child go and make mistakes and learn.
Right.
They're
on you.
Go do whatever you want, but I'm attached at your hip.
Right.
So
okay, that is Instagram.
But that's Instagram.
So how are you? How are we creating anything? How are we being creative? We're being strangled?
We're being strangled by the ability to not market or educate people on a regulated industry. So cannabis is regulated, and it should be. But what I'm saying is that if you're strangleholding education and stopping it from getting out there, then how can you complain that people who are of age don't have the resources at their fingertips when you're not allowing them to get the resources?
Okay. Do you have anything that can help us? Do you have any tips? Do you have any for the people in Canada? Look, I know. I mean, I would love a tip. Move to the States? No, that's not a tip.
Listen, you got to play the game. A lot of meta. The reason why Cannabis Now is able to do so well on Instagram is because we don't post bong smoking and joint smoking.
Right.
It's very, very, very vanilla Manja Cake content.
Right.
That is above board. They're okay with it. We don't get shadow banned. We get the views. But the one time you do one thing that isn't
a little outside the box,
that's it. You're shadow banned. There's no hey, do us a favor. It's nope.
Right.
That's it. You've done it. You know what I mean? Which is interesting because when you look at the judicial system and when people go to get in trouble, half the time it's a warning. It's a slap on the wrist.
Right.
Go back. But when it comes to social media,
it's all or nothing.
It's all or nothing. It's black and white. There's no gray.
Just draconian, come in and done.
It's very draconian. It's a really good way. It's very, very draconian. And listen, you got to have the right team that understands that. And you can't take it personally because it's not personal. It's an industry-wide thing. It's very hard to be successful, but the successful ones don't need the overregulation to be successful. Good products stand out. Good branding stands out. Good storylines stand out with or without the regulation.
With or without the regulations. Do you think these regulations will ever change?
Yes, but very, very slowly. Look, Prohibition was what, 1920? The Prohibition era with alcohol?
Oh, 1920, yes.
20s and 30s. So it's been almost 100 years of alcohol where now it's okay. But the amount of money and lobbying that they've had to
spend to do that.
We're only 5 or 6 years in Canada into legalization.
Right.
So think of alcohol can do stuff, but alcohol has been in the pocket of lobbyists for 50 years.
True. It's
different relationships. It's different. It's the same thing, but it's different.
Same thing, but different.
Right.
We're so overregulated. We just can't breathe.
Listen, it's very challenging, and my heart goes out to a lot of brands that literally their livelihood stops
when their social account.
Well, look at there's a brand, Toke Text, that signed its first Twitch influencer. The next day, they announced that you can't promote cannabis on Twitch. He's like, what the fuck?
Isn't that
I
nuts?
didn't even have a day. I didn't even have a day.
It's just not. It's just nuts. That's Michelle, right? Michelle from.
Jeremy from Toketext.
Oh,
and
sorry.
like such a good platform, such a great guy. Like he's been one of those guys who no matter how many people have like stepped over the line and taken a slap on the wrist, he's like, no, I gotta stay on the right side of the law.
And then he finally does it.
And he finally does something right, and he gets. And it's like,
how is that ever going to change? Like we'll lose all of our, not our experts, but we'll lose all of our people in the know to other markets, to the States, to the.
Listen, there's a lot of bigger brands who are flocking to the States already. Canada just needs a minute, and people can't afford, with their livelihoods and bills and things, to wait that minute that it's going to take. Whereas in the U.S., state by state rollout, they decide, but the regulation isn't as strict.
Right.
Hopefully in the next presidential administration, legalization happens. I thought Biden and Kamala Harris would do it. They clearly didn't. So apparently in the next one, hopefully that would be whoever makes cannabis federally legal across the board.
Mm-hmm.
That's an entirely different.
That's how that'll change.
Yes.
That's how we'll loosen up some.
No matter how much we say we're an independent country, we look a lot to the U.S. and other countries for examples.
Except for Quebec, they don't look anywhere.
Quebec isn't a.
Quebec doesn't look anywhere.
Quebec, it's love them, but it's a very leave out. How are you, Jackie?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good.
I think you're my last interview for today.
How does that feel?
Well, there's 9 tomorrow, so.
Imagine having to smile and be happy for that long to that many people.
How are you?
It's like you go to a bar afterwards, someone comes, you're like, shut the fuck up. What do you mean? I didn't shut the fuck up.
Tonight when we go out, everyone will say, you look so tired, or you're not talking, or whatever. I'm like, I've talked all day.
No, but then what they're gonna do is take it personally and make you feel like it's a personal vendetta when you're just fucking like done.
When I'm just done being.
Like you're done with the dance monkey. It's just like
there you go. Yes, I'm almost done wrapping this up. But so, what do we call you? Would you be a consultant?
Yeah,
I'm a connector.
I'm a connector, consultant,
a wheeler dealer,
automobiler. I'm with Cannabis Now Media, really helping shape the North American presence, helping brands get into it and understand what they're paying for, what the metrics are, what the ROI is. And just saying hi to some fun people.
Who would reach out to you if they want to do some business? How do they? What is your perfect client, and how do they get a hold of you?
It's a really good question. Anybody who is geographically agnostic, who can sell into the U.S., who wants to get to the U.S., should call me. They can reach me on Twitter. It's my name, Corey Herscu. On Instagram, it's Herscu.
Corey
Herscu. You can email me. It's my first name, Corey, at cannabisnow.com. Even if you aren't ready to go to the U.S. but just want to ask questions and stuff, happy to. Very much can serve Canada. I understand Canadian budgets are different than American budgets, so don't let that sway you from reaching out, because there's always something that can be done and happen. It's a matter of let's just make a connection and see how the dance goes.
I have another question before we end this dance.
Dun, 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 dun.
What's this? I've never done one of those spaces thing or whatever, the things you listen to on Twitter all the time.
Can I tell you, that is where I have horrible ADHD.
Okay.
I have a very hard time with reading comprehension.
Right.
I have found audiobooks and spaces to be exactly what I need.
Spaces.
So I jump into a space where it was Clubhouse before it became a fascist club.
Okay.
And I literally just jump into spaces and I listen and I ask questions and I learn. And I learn more in an hour on a space hearing people talk.
Really? I gotta do it.
Most industries where I've become prominent and can speak and understand, I just immersed myself. So Web3, I spent 2-3 weeks a month every day immersing myself in spaces and listening so that I could become an educated person when I went and tried to sell something.
Cool. I think it's very interesting. I wanted to try it. I've almost jumped in, but do I have to speak? Or can I just be a listener?
You can do either one. I think that you would do really well doing the podcast, but interview on spaces to just really organically grow. That's a really
chat on spaces.
The way that Instagram and TikTok drive eyes to the videos and the reels, Twitter drives followers to
the spaces.
Yes. So a really good way for you to create better engagement and real following is to start doing a daily space, bring on people, interview them, talk to them, have moderation. It drives eyes to the brand. It gets you a more organic following.
Thank you for this tip. I
It's
like that.
my pleasure. For you, anything.
Thank you. Thank you, Corey Herscu.
You're welcome.
I'm
Jackie
just going to
Charles.
keep saying it
Thank
over
you for
and
bringing
over
me. Look,
again.
I will thank you a lot, because there's been many podcasts I've gone to where they're like, no, we're too busy, can't. It's always been that kind of relationship where we see each other, whatever we can do to help each other out, we always do, whether it's a podcast. If you guys are like, we need an interview with somebody, I bring the person over
For
for the
sure.
interview.
Thank you.
We've always had that camaraderie, so I appreciate that. It doesn't matter where we are, we see each other, we have a conversation. A lot of people will be like, no, schedule, no, we're done. You guys are like, fuck that guy, you come here.
Yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for being a friend of the show, and thank you for being so supportive
It's
of all of us.
absolutely my pleasure. You guys are amazing, and positive begets positive.
Peace.
We're always fresh and a little bit sticky. The green room on Cannabis Wiki.